Welcome back to the channel. We're so glad that you joined us again today for another video on the CitrusCraft server. Today we're going to be making a mob farm, and I am very excited about that, but I did want to give a kind of a disclaimer to the video. I'm shooting this at the end of the video. Oh, broke the wall. The fifth wall. Now you know I'm recording this at the end. But really, I wanted to mention a few things. Number one, we had a little bit of audio issues where I was recording and my Minecraft audio was a little bit higher than my microphone audio. So sometimes you'll hear like weather sounds that got a little bit too loud and somehow my microphone got turned down. And so my Minecraft audio was the same, but my microphone was a little bit lower. So I wanted to apologize for that recording issue. So if you hear that, I'm so sorry. I did go ahead and correct it so that we won't have that issue in the future. But if you hear it in this video, instead of re-recording the whole video and tearing down the mob farm, which is humongous, I just decided to go ahead and mention that right off the start of the video. I did also want to mention that this is a mob farm that I'm building, so as I'm going through it, I'm not following any sort of like specific YouTube tutorial where I'm just taking it step by step and building this mob farm. So a lot of this process that you'll see today is just, me working on it and going through some of the trial and error process. So I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. So if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to follow this as a tutorial for a mob farm on my world, I probably wouldn't recommend that, or at least watch the video the whole way through before you start working on your mob farm, as I make a few mistakes throughout the process and then I go back and fix them and mention where I made those mistakes. So I did want to mention that if you were trying to follow this as a tutorial, at least watch the video all the way through so that you see when I caught my mistakes or when I fixed some sort of issue that we had with the farm, so that way you can fix that on your world as well before building this yourself and going through and making the same mistakes that I did. That's what I love about Minecraft, is it is a bunch of trial and error and trying to figure those things out, and I actually enjoy that process. So every once in a while I'll follow a YouTube tutorial on how to build something, but really I just like to figure it out myself and try and mess up and fix it, and that's what I enjoy the most and get the most joy out of Minecraft. I also wanted to mention, because I do make all those mistakes, this video is going to be a little bit longer. I apologize, but I just wanted to show you that I did build this mob farm all by myself, and I really enjoyed the process of doing it. I try to make it as few clips as possible and as short as possible, but it is a little bit larger mob farm, so you are going to get a longer video with a longer mob farm. But I really appreciate you watching, and I hope that you enjoy the process as much as I do, and I hope that you enjoy this video. We have, well, a few needs. We are running low on rockets, which are pretty essential to the game, especially when you consider that for the elytra, we need all those rockets. So in order to get the best amount of rockets and the most out of it that we need, we're going to be building a mob farm that incorporates all the mobs, from witches to skeletons to zombies to creepers, to every one of them. We're going to be including all of those hostile mobs in this mob farm. So I have behind me all the shulkers for all the resources that I think I'll need in order to get this mob farm started. This will help us to get bone meal primarily, some bows so that we can go ahead and build our dispensers for some other farms we've got coming up. This will also help us to get some gunpowder for the rockets, and then we'll use the sugarcane farm. We might just upgrade it slightly to use bone meal so we can go ahead and get more sugarcane out of it, so that way we can make paper faster. And so we'll use the bones from the skeleton skeletons, all those sorts of things that we really need. This is going to kind of help with a lot of that. And so that's why I wanted to go ahead and build this, so that way we can really go adventure some more, and get some additional resources that we'll be needing for the future game. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to start with a elevator that's going to lead to the top. Now, when you're building a mob farm, you really want to focus on a couple of things that will really help you. The first being, you want to use torches around any of the land that's going to be around the area, and that'll kind of help you as you get started with the rates of the mob farm itself. So I went ahead and built it above water, so that kind of helps with the rates of the farm. And then this island is the closest island, and I went about 150 blocks away. Now, technically, you don't need to go that far away in order to build this mob farm. You can go about anywhere from 44 to 128 blocks in order to build the farm, but I went ahead and went a little bit further out than that, so that way I could go ahead and get some better rates. And I went around and searched out the area, and I found this good ocean biome here that kind of is going to help us with the rates of the farm being what they are. And then you can go 44 blocks above land, but since we're going to be building the bubble elevator that's going to go all the way up to the top, I gave you a little example. Let me fly up so I can show you. We're going to go, instead, we're going to go up 128 blocks. So 2 stacks of glass on each side, and that's going to equal 128 blocks. And that's really just going to help us to get better rates, and then we'll light up this platform down below, so that way we make sure we get the best rates possible. So that's going to basically mean all of this glass is going to have to get used, and we're going to start off. Let me actually get a bucket. I don't know that I brought one with me. That's fine. What I can go ahead and do is, I think I have a block of iron in here that I could just use to craft up a bucket really quickly. Yeah. Okay, so perfect. Let me go ahead and get a bucket just really quickly, so that way I can go ahead and get a bucket, and you'll see why in just a minute. The first thing we want to do with the bubble elevator is we want to go ahead and we want to place down a glass block. That's going to help us kind of to get what we need in place for that. And I'm just going to grab a few more blocks real quick right here. Perfect. And the glass block, I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted by everything else. The glass block is going to kind of help us with just making sure that we can get this bubble elevator going. Grass block, I'm sorry, is going to help us with making sure that we get the kelp to grow up. I'll show you all that in just a minute. Let me just go ahead and build this platform first. All right, so we're going to start right here, and we are going to place down blocks all the way around this, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and take down this scaffolding now, since we know how tall we're going to make it, and we'll go ahead and let it down fall. It's kind of funny to watch it fall, because it goes like all over the place. Some of it goes into our inventory, and others of it just falls into the water, and we've got to wait a few seconds, and all of it will float back up to the top. So let's go ahead and place down our initial glass blocks right here. And so that's going to be our walls. We're going to put 2 glass blocks here temporarily, but we will eventually knock them out. It's just going to kind of help us to keep our count going for how much we have. See, all of this is just now floating down. Right there. We can get all of that, so that way we don't lose out on any of it. We are definitely going to need this scaffolding for the mob farm as well. But yeah, mob farms are just great overall. I really find them super helpful in that there's a lot of different drops. You will get a lot of redstone and a little bit of iron even from all of it, and so that'll just go to be helpful regardless. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to use all the glass that's in our inventory to pillar up 128 blocks. So that way we make sure that there's no blocks below. that are going to block our mob farm from spawning. So it's basically like a spawn proofing type thing where we can make sure that the mob farm has the only mobs spawning in the area, and that will help increase the rates. And I like to use a bubble elevator. Getting up scaffolding or ladders or anything like that is really a lot more complicated. Oh no! Is really a lot more complicated than what it needs to be. I'm going to have to use scaffolding to get back up there. So now we took out those 2 blocks anyway that I told you I was going to leave in there. We'll just know that we need 2 extra blocks in our inventory at the end. So that'll kind of help us to keep count. But basically, the bubble elevator will help us to get up there faster than scaffolding. As you could tell, scaffolding and ladders can be a bit slow at times. And so I just like to start off by just building a bubble elevator. And that's going to help us when we're going up 128 blocks. That's really high and it takes forever to do on ladders or scaffolding, and you run the risk of falling off of it, and so we definitely don't want to do that. And so we usually use a bubble elevator to get up to the farm, and then honestly, because we're over an ocean biome, we just jump off the side of the ledge. And since we have elytra now, James and I do anyway. Since we have those elytra now, we just go ahead and fly down or jump down and land in the water. It's kind of fun and thrilling and exciting all at the same time, because you never know if you're going to miss or hit the platform on accident. So yeah, we just build an entrance, no exit. The exit is you jump off and just hope you land in the water and not on the platform. But yeah, I just find this the easiest way to go ahead and get up to the farm is just to do that. And what I did was I put the exact number of glass I needed in my inventory. So I knew I needed 4 stacks of, I'm sorry, basically 64 for each row, but 2 stacks of 64 on all 4 sides. So we needed 128 on all 4 sides. That means we need 2 stacks for each side, and so I just brought 4 of those to come all the way around. That was very confusing the way I just said that, but basically I just got the exact number of glass that I needed in order to make this. And then when we get to the very top, what we'll do is we'll do the kelp method, so we don't have to put an individual bucket and then drop back down. That's the way I used to do it, and it took forever. And so instead, what I'm going to go ahead and do is build this whole tower all the way up, and then we'll drop a bucket of water at the very top of it, and then we'll go down to the bottom, and that's why we needed the grass block, because we're going to go ahead and grow kelp from the bottom of the farm, and we will build that all the way up. I brought just over 128 of those as well, and we'll go ahead and build that all the way up to the very top, so that way we don't have to fill it with glass blocks up here, or I mean solid blocks up here. And please go in my inventory this time. Yeah, that way I don't have to drop all the way back down. I do have 2 extra now, so I probably wouldn't have had to, but it would have been annoying if I did again, especially since and we are up here. So yeah, hopefully we don't do that too often, because that would be unfortunate. Or your scaffolding, because once you get up 128 blocks in the air, all you have to do is have glass on all 4 sides, and then what I go ahead and do is just drop a bucket of water down here. Now, I did have some kelp down at the bottom, that what I'll go ahead and do is grow that kelp all the way up till the top, and then I'll replace that kelp with the grass block that I have down below with soul sand, and that will allow me to come all the way up to the top of this bubble elevator really, really quickly. And so that'll be the easiest way to do it. So now I'm going to jump down to the bottom, and that bucket of water should be getting close to reaching the bottom. Ooh, see what I mean by risky? It's kind of fun. All right, now that bubble elevator, yep, it has come all the way down to the bottom. That's why I put glass down there at first, because I'm going to use kelp now in order to do this. And we're going to go ahead and kelp all the way up to the top. And we will get that. Alright. This will take it and make it a since I have respiration, this makes it a little bit easier to do. If you don't have respiration on the helmet, I wouldn't really recommend doing this because you see how quickly I'm running out of air, or how slowly I'm running out of air. You would run out of air a lot more quickly if you didn't have respiration on the helmet. And so you gotta be a little bit careful with that when you're doing these, especially 128 blocks up in the air. So yeah, definitely want to be careful with that so that you don't run out of oxygen. I might still, just barely had enough. So I might still have to do one more. I think that was it. I think that was a perfect amount. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to come down here, and basically that's made all of these blocks from the top to the bottom full water blocks up on this tower. So that was super simple. We didn't have to place a water bucket on each individual layer. We just placed it all the way up to the top. Now I'm going to grab my soul sand, and I'm going to go ahead and break this kelp, and then we're going to place our soul sand down there, and that's going to basically complete our bubble to the top. So now I'm just going to place 2 temporary blocks in so this stops knocking me off. And then I'm going to make myself some some fences so that you can see how this works up on the farm. Alright, so our first platform is going to be kind of a collections platform, and then we'll build another layer. We'll build basically 2 layers and then the mob farm itself. So the first layer I kind of want to be a collections layer. So it's not going to have to be big. We may expand it later on. This is just the initial build to the farm. So I'm just kind of putting this in place right now because eventually I'll probably go ahead and do a layer that is more with the filtration system, so that way when we eventually don't need bows on all of our for all of our dispensers, or we have too many at that point, we will go ahead and close this off. But for now, I'm just going to make a small little platform so that our hoppers with chests will go ahead and drop down to this layer basically right here, and then we will have the next layer up above be our trident killing system for this layer. So this is just an initial layer. I'll probably put another wall just up here so that we can not fall off. But really, this is just temporary until we can get our filtration system in place later on. And this will be the first layer of the farm. Well, I made a little bit of a mistake, but rather than tear it apart, I thought I'd just explain it to you. I forgot to hit the record button. All I did was move these supplies up to here from the bottom. I did go ahead and add in a trapdoor right here so that we can go ahead and drop down to the bottom but not hit the platform down below. I threw my bed up here so that way we can sleep when it's nighttime, and then I have my stonecutter crafting table, all the supplies that I'll need right here. I did want to show you really quickly, I'm starting with the collection system and the trident killer. So right here you have your hoppers. These will drop down into some double chests. Eventually we will probably create an item sorting system, but for now I did want to go ahead and just get a simple collection system in place. And then if you come up here, what you'll see is you'll see 4 hopper with minecarts. So I've got 4 hopper with minecarts sitting on top of those. I did go ahead and put down rails and then put the hopper with minecarts on top of the rails. Make sure you surround the hopper and minecarts with blocks before you do this, and don't put down all 4 rails at the same time. Just do 2 at a time. So do 2 on this side, and then put down your hopper with minecart, and then do 2 on this side, put down your hopper with minecart, and then go ahead and break those rails before you put in the next set of rails. What I did is I broke these blocks on the side. I went ahead and broke those rails, which is really touchy, but you want to go ahead and do that so that way it doesn't create a looping circle where the minecarts will get pushed off. And then you want to block them in so that way they are not going to fall out of the system, not collecting more items any longer. I did leave this open right here so I could tell where my hoppers with minecarts were. So that way we can go ahead and add in our trident killer. So for this, we are going to want to, let's see, that's our first one. Yep. So we're going to want to place our first piston right here. And then we're going to want to face a piston right here. And then a piston right here. And then finally a piston right here. Then we're going to take some observers and we're going to face them into that block right there. That's going to observe that piston, send a signal to this observer saying, hey, you should engage this piston. And then what that's going to do is it's going to make it go around in a loop and send a signal to all of those as well. So we're going to go ahead and do this all the way around. And then, all right, let's see here. And then let's make sure I did this right. We're going to put a lever on here. And yes, perfect. All right, so if I flip that switch again, that's going to keep that system going all the way around. Let me see if I can drop this block. Nope. Well, it's at least a good system. Oh, see, I'm breaking everything. All right, but that's kind of my trident killer system, and I believe that Hopper with minecart did its job and picked up my block, even though that's a little bit annoying because now I have to come back down here. So yeah, once the mobs are killed in this trident killer system, that system is going to go ahead and collect the items down below. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and shut this off right now so that way I can replace that block right there. All right, perfect. Let's turn it back on, make sure everything's working. All right, so it's going to kind of send a signal around, keep pushing this around, and then we're going to go ahead and throw a trident into the system. This is just a basic trident. You could add water to the bottom of this with Impaling 5, and that would increase your kill. It would make your kills go faster, and that would allow you to get more mobs to spawn quicker. But for now, I'll just add that basic one. We may upgrade that later on. I'm actually going to leave this one open right here, and I'll explain why in just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and add a slab in place there so that all the XP falls out and hits us. You can add a glass block or a slab, but I'm going to add a slab right in here so that way trident killer picks up that XP and sends it to us. Alright, if you want to know how this is set up, let me go ahead and break those blocks again really quickly so that you can see how all those observers are facing in case you want to build this on your world. This isn't really a tutorial video as much as it is just me building it and showing you how to build it. As much as me just building it for what we need. But yeah, all the observers are in this direction, so if you want to go ahead and pause this video, and then you can make sure all your arrows are facing the correct direction so that you can see how you can build this simple trident killer in your world if you want to. This is not original to me. This has been around for a long time. I'm really not even sure who created this, but whoever did, they are genius and awesome, and I will love them forever. Yep, now that's all set up. We're going to go ahead and build this out, and we'll go ahead and build our system up above our mob farm where we'll drop the mobs into this trident killer. So that'll be the next step. I'm going to go ahead and cover this whole system with blocks so that nothing happens and we don't get anything to bump this or mess this up in any way. So it's more just a safety thing than anything. Let me go ahead and I'm going to also expand out this wall one block so that way we have a little bit of walking room all the way around it, just in case something ever goes wrong. I want to be able to easily fix it without taking the whole thing down. So I'm just going to expand this out just a little bit further so that we can go ahead and build onto it for the next steps. All right, now that our chute is built all the way, our drop chute is built all the way up to the top, we're going to go ahead and go out by 8 blocks. So 1, 2, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you don't want to count this first block. You want to go out 8 from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you want to do that on all 4 of the sides. So we're going to go out this way. And then we're going to do it on this side over here. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, didn't catch that one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, perfect. And then we're going to do it on this side right here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to fill in this whole region right here with blocks until we get this whole thing in one big square. All right, now we have this whole platform built out. I am going to go ahead and take out these corners. And this tip I did get from Silent Whisper. This top portion I did steal from him. The rest of it is all basically mine, or, you know, like Trident Killers have been around for a very long time. So, yeah, but this part is just, I like the way he took out the corners up at the top so we don't create an infinite water source. So he went ahead and took out all 3 corners, and then he built up this wall by 2 up here at the top. So that way he can go ahead and get the water in place. So go ahead and next you'll need to build this up by 2 all the way across. So that way you can get the mobs to start spawning, you get the water in place and everything like that all the way around. So you're going to want to build up by 2 all the way around the entire build for this top outline. And the reason he took out the corners is so you never create an infinite water source, and so that way you don't get to where your mobs won't get pushed into that middle section. You definitely want them to get pushed into the Trident Killer, and so this is the best way that I found to go ahead and do that portion. So I'm going to go ahead and fill all the rest of this in, and then we will jump ahead to the next portion where you don't have to see me building this whole wall. After that, I did want to mention, because I'm going to do this as well, you go ahead and put slabs on the top of all of these sections right here, so that way you can get that all done. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and finish this off, and then we'll jump ahead to the next portion. All right, so I did go ahead and build up this entrance right here, and you'll see why in just a minute, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come out 1 block all the way around, and we are going to place scaffolding on every layer around here, leaving 1 block away from the initial wall, and you'll so that way we can create the water source above it, and we can go ahead and get that going. So let me go ahead and place in all this scaffolding. The wall is built with the slabs on top, and then we're going to go ahead and fill in all this layer right here just with scaffolding, and we will go ahead and get that all completed. And we are going to do more layers, so that's why I went ahead and built up the scaffolding so I know where my entrance and exit is, because once I get all this scaffolding in place, it's going to get real confusing as to where I need to go to get in or out. Also, I did want to say that we're going to go ahead and add in some coral fans. So you'll want to add in some coral fans right here up on these blocks, and that'll just help the mobs to fall a little bit easier down onto this farm. So yeah, get some coral fans in place. I actually am going to replace that one with this, just like that. So that way the mobs will fall in just a little bit faster, and so that'll be perfect. I did go ahead and get those put in. All right, so I'm going to fill this whole area with scaffolding, and then I'll show you the next steps. All right, I was able to get all of those put into place, so now I'm going to go ahead and place in some temporary blocks all along the side. Again, this top portion is not original to me. It's original to a YouTuber called Silent Whisperer. I'll link that in the description. The bottom portion is all mine, but the top portion is his, and so I did want to give credit where credit is due because I love this top portion and how he built it. It's just a simple farm, so I did want to go ahead and mention that. Yeah, definitely should check out his video, but I did make some changes to the bottom portion from what I like, and I'll show you why later on. All right, next we're going to go ahead, and I have some ice blocks. My inventory was full earlier, so let me go ahead and do that, grab those. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and place these ice blocks over top of all these, and then I'm going to break them with a fortune pickaxe, not a silk touch pickaxe, and that's going to cause all the water to flow the way it should. Now, I could do this with water buckets and an infinite water source, but this is going to be much, much faster than that would be, and I learned that from the iron farm, so we definitely want to do it this way because this will speed up the process a ton. So now that I have all those in place, I'm going to go ahead and get out my fortune pickaxe. We're going to break all those and create that infinite water source, but apparently I didn't have it, so I need to go grab it really quickly from my inner chest. Alright, I do have that fortune pickaxe now, so I'm going to go ahead and break all these blocks. That's going to create a water source that is going to push all the mobs into the center, where they will then get pushed into the bottom trident killer. So I'm going to go ahead and break all these now, and as you can see, that's creating a water source that will push all those mobs into the middle. And as you can see, it doesn't run over the scaffolding as far as like it doesn't run down into the bottom. It just runs over that side. So that's perfect. And then we will go ahead and get all the mobs pushed down into there. The reason why we use the scaffolding is to prevent spiders from getting caught up in here, clogging up the farm and eating up the mob cap. So that's the end of that. Now that we have all the water flowing, we'll go ahead and, like I said, I'm a little excessive, so I'm going to probably build this up probably by another 4 or 5. So do this same thing, but up 4 more layers to get a little bit larger mob farm in place. But that'll be what I do next, and then I'll show you the final product. Now, I did realize a small mistake that I made where I cut the corners incorrectly, so I do need to go ahead and fix that and then refill the water back into place. So instead of cutting out the 3 blocks, I needed to cut out and have like this space like this. So I should have gone in 1 more block before I put in my water sources. So I did go ahead and correct that, but I also wanted to correct it on the video to show you my mistake so that you don't make the same mistake. Just come in 1 more block and cut out that other corner block right there. I was getting infinite water sources when I put my water sources in place, and it was driving me insane. I couldn't figure it out, went back and looked, and that was what I did incorrectly. Small mistake, but enough to where it was a little bit of a headache to try and go ahead and fix it to get the correct blocks in place so that we could finish this off without creating an infinite water source. So it should look like that instead, rather than like I showed you just prior to that. But we got it all corrected, and now I will go ahead and finish this off and put in the water source once again, so that we can finish off this first layer of the farm, and then I will go ahead and build in the rest of the layers up above that. Progress update. It's looking pretty good. We do have all 5 layers now built on the top of the mob farm. I did have to expand it a little bit. Let me show you right here. And temporarily I added in some slabs. I thought I had enough tinted glass, but I definitely did not. So I had to go ahead and put just some slabs on the top in the meantime. Now down here I did go ahead and expand it just slightly to 6 layers, or a 3 by 2 instead of a 2 by 2, and that is to actually get some spiders to drop. Some of the spiders I noticed while I was building it were getting a little bit stuck in the system, and so I went ahead and expanded that just slightly. I did just temporarily add in 2 blocks down below and just put a water stream pushing that in, but some of the mobs are getting stuck on that, so I'll definitely have to fix that as well. But all 6 of the layers that I put in here are built, and all the mobs are dropping down to the bottom. Down here, we did go ahead and add an improvement as well. I was working with James, and we were talking about the Trident Killer. And the Trident, you have to throw every once in a while in order to get the XP from it. So if I were to throw it, then I would get the XP, and if James were to throw it, then James would get the XP. But we needed a way to kind of shut off the mobs from dropping so we can actually get into this little area to access the Trident Killer. And so, like, in order to get into here, into where the pistons are at, to go ahead and kill them, to throw the Trident again, we needed a system that would do that. So we created a shut-off system. So I put in the sticky pistons, and James put in the redstone ladder that goes up to the top. So if I were to flip this, which I don't want to flip it quite right now, it's going to engage these sticky pistons up here at the top, and that's going to push these 3 blocks and these 3 blocks in, preventing mobs from dropping all the way down into the bottom Trident Killer area. And so if you have a Trident Killer on your world and you're building a mob farm or a gold farm or anything like that, I would definitely suggest finding a way to shut off the farm if you don't already have one. And this is our kind of like a cheap way of shutting off the farm without putting in lights and redstone lamps up at the top in each one of those layers, is just to kind of prevent the mobs from being able to drop down to the bottom here, and so that way we can get in, access the farm, make any changes, fix anything, throw the trident, whatever we need to do, because I still have some updates that I want to do in there as well. And then down here, we do have our collection system. I did go ahead and drop this down just a little bit more because it was getting so full as I was building the farm. As you can see here, we have some pretty good rates. So right here, we're already filling up some double chests. A lot of this is junk, but you do get the good gunpowder and bones and string and rotten flesh and other things like that. So I've got a chest right here, and James did come through and steal the gunpowder because he needed it for his rockets, and I told him that was totally fine. But that's why you may not see as much gunpowder. I think we had 3 or 4 stacks in here, and then some of the blocks that I've just dropped while working on the farm. But yeah, that's the farm. It's doing really, really well. We're getting a lot of good rates, and this is just like while I was building the upstairs and while we were putting the double pistons and stuff in place to kind of shut it down. So it's getting some pretty good rates. I did put tinted glass on the top, but realized I didn't get enough amethyst to go ahead and complete that, so I do need to go on a exploration journey. Every once in a while, a spider keeps spawning in here, which is getting really annoying. I don't know what I need to do. It's only when a player is not in the room. So if you have any reason why that would happen, because everything up here is lit up and slabbed, and so there should be no way for it to spawn up here and then come down, and then but it keeps spawning down in here. So not sure what I'm doing that's causing spiders to spawn, especially since it's not a light level 0. But yeah, anyway, if I did want to shut it off right now, I just flip this. It's going to go ahead and shut it off. I can kill any mobs that are in the chamber already, and then I can shut this trident killer off so I can access the inside of it. I'll just come over here and break a few of these blocks right here, so that we can get into this farm right here. And then as you can see up here, it's all closed off up at the top. And so no mobs can drop down into this chute. But like I just picked up the trident, so now I can take and throw that trident back into the system, allowing me to get the XP and others. I need to make some repairs right here because this is not the greatest system. So I want to go ahead and knock this out and maybe put in some signs and other things to prevent the water from flowing down into here. If I did want water, I could waterlog one of these pistons, but I do not want the water to flow from up here down into here. And then I definitely want to put in another layer of water up there so that spiders can't crawl up the chute. But those are just little things that I'm going to go ahead and improve from just my experience. And the I don't know why in the video I watched, I had known that we needed a 6 slot or a 3x2 slot, but for some reason in my head it didn't connect. So definitely we expanded that a little bit, and then I'll need to fix this. I just put in a temporary block, and then items kept getting stuck and mobs kept dying up there. And so I wanted to go ahead and fix that, and I forgot to throw the trident again. But anyway, um, yeah, so I wanted to go ahead and at least get that fixed. But now that we've got that all fixed, um, I want to go ahead and make this a little better. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, we've it's functioning and it's functioning well. I just want to make some minor improvements to make it work even better than what it was before. And now you're going to see a ton of mobs drop into this chute right here because they've all been spawning up at the top. And so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get them in there, and it'll start killing them. And this is what I want to prevent. I want to get the spiders to stop like floating in the water. So I'm gonna fix that. I know a way to fix it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The mob farm is functioning, complete. We're just going to make some minor improvements for it. But yeah, overall, and you can either stand here and collect XP, or you can even come down here and you could probably see my XP bar is filling up a little bit. So I can still collect XP from down below if I wanted to stand down in this section. I might expand this, expand the storage, all of that as well. Those are just upgrades that we can do later on. I just wanted to at least get it going and get rid of some of this junk that we've already accumulated up in here. So we'll go ahead and take care of that as well. Yeah, that's it. All right, final progress update. As I know this video is probably getting really long, we did go ahead and add in that sorting system for the storage so that way all of our items can get sorted. So we have like our rotten flesh, we have our bones, we have our gunpowder, and this was just sitting from like maybe an hour or two. And some of these items are still building up in the system. So, like sugar doesn't drop as often from witches, but when it does drop, it'll eventually fill those chests, and I did want to keep that. Same with glowstone from witches and redstone from witches. We're getting a little bit of it, but not a ton. Not like the other mob drops, like the string, the arrows. I think this one is not sorted. Oh, some nautilus shells and other items like that. So every once in a while, we'll get some random items like ink sacs or nautilus shells. I definitely love when it happens. I think the mobs are getting stuck in some of the water, and not up down at the bottom chute when I have the trident killer off. And so every once in a while, those zombies will turn into drowns, and they'll drop some of those ink sacs or nautilus shells or other water-related items in here. So we have those sorted because I would love to keep those if they do keep dropping. And then the last chest is just our junk chest for armor. We're gonna eventually drop this and just put in a trash can. We're wanting to collect a few of the bows for like dispensers and other things, and some of our items are still not going through the item sorter just because too many are dropping at the same time. And so like the rotten flesh is dropping so quickly because these rates are so good that sometimes it doesn't get sorted and it comes into this. We'll probably just trash it because overall we're already collecting more than what we will need for the server. And by the way, as you can see, I did get bad omen. Apparently a pillager dropped in the mob farm, and so I did get bad omen, and so that I'll have to take care of that later. I did go ahead and put a bubble elevator just to the next level with the water drop right here so I don't take damage. So that's my drop, and that's my entrance into the top portion of the mob farm. I did change out the water thing here, and then the spiders kept getting stuck again, so I just went ahead and put it back in place, and it seems to be working overall pretty well so far. So everything seems to be functioning really well, and as you can tell, even if it's got some minor issues with it, overall it's a really great farm with rates. And eventually that spider will get caught by a mob or drop down into the trident killer and get killed. And then I did figure out that the spiders were popping through this block. Sometimes the I think it's just a glitch with Minecraft where sometimes the piston would push the mob through this bottom observer right here, and they would get pushed into here. So it wasn't a light level issue because I put out more torches thinking it was a light level issue, but it wasn't that spiders were spawning in here. It's that there was a glitch where they were getting pushed through that bottom observer. This seems to have fixed it though. So just by putting in this last block right here, when it tried to push them through, they would get caught and then they would push back into the farm. So not quite sure what that is. And then I put slabs over the roof of this so that way if we do AFK here, once I get my beacons put into place, which James did get those, so I'll put the beacons in here as well. So that way we can get regen. So that way we could AFK here overnight on hard mode, so that way we don't get hurt by thorns. And so yeah, overall it is complete, and everything with the farm is done. So we're good to go on that. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make this mob farm. I did want to mention, if you haven't already, consider commenting on the video and letting me know what you think, or if you have suggestions for future content. Also, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss another episode. I know this video's been long, so I'll cut it off there. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.